great idea.
I wanted you to take me back to the beginning. I know that your father was a great support in your musical journey. At what age did you begin?
Big question. So I kind of began at two different times. I initially began playing guitar when I was about 4 or 5. I always had seen guitars in the household, obviously, because my dad was a touring artist. Um, but yeah, in regards to singing, I started really taking it seriously when I was about 8 or 9, and we kind of sat down, my dad and I, and we said, "Is this something that you really want to pursue?" And so my parents, I'm very thankful to them because they put me in singing lessons, and they obviously dad taught me guitar, so it was a really, really good transition, I feel like.
And you've done some amazing covers. I wanted to know what bands and artists have inspired you along your journey.
Yeah, for sure. There's been a ton of artists that I take inspiration from. I think a few that I've been mentioning recently have been like those women in rock that kind of, started that movement, whether it be Joan Jett, Pat Benatar, Lita Ford, people like that I feel like were really, they played a huge part in my journey. And I kind of draw inspiration from them all the time, whether that be earlier on in their careers or even now. I'm constantly watching and, trying to learn from those type of people.
And I noticed that in your videos, I've seen quite a few posters of Kiss. What kind of influence were they to you?
Kiss were a really big influence on me, actually. My dad is a huge Ace Frehley fan, one of his favorite guitarists of all time. And I think that kind of rubbed off on me. So I'll pop a Kiss poster wherever I can. I've seen them twice live in concert, and I think they're like at the top of the scale for having a top-notch show. And it's something that hopefully one day I could do myself.
Yeah, I noticed them in your videos, and I wanted to tell you that when you come to the States, I have a special gift for you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Sounds great.
I have one of only 2 copies of a poster of the original band members within the background of every concert they've done.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, Kiss is always going to be a major part of my journey, and I just, Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, they're just such fantastic songwriters as well. And I know that Paul Stanley's done a lot of work on other artists' albums as well, so I listened to a bunch of that. So yeah, I feel very lucky to have grown up in a day and age where Kiss was, Kiss was the best band, alive, the greatest band ever.
Yeah, as being an old man, I've seen every tour since Dynasty.
That's awesome. That's commitment, and that's the type of fan that I was for a lot of these artists. So it's super cool to be in the scene myself now.
I wanted to ask you about your emotions when you got your first guitar endorsement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Fender and signing with Fender, it was just like a whirlwind experience for me. Like I said, I grew up learning to play guitar. So at the age of 4 or 5, I had a Fender in my hand. And to be able to say that I'm like an endorsed artist by Fender now is just, it's a huge privilege. And I'm very grateful to the entire team there. They've been absolutely brilliant. And I love the guitars. I love the brand. I love what it stands for. And I'll always be an advocate and a supporter of them.
And I got to ask you, what's in the works? Is there more original material on the way?
Absolutely. I'm working on currently a debut album. There's a lot of information to come on that, but I'm super stoked to be doing that. There were some things that we're waiting for, and I feel privileged enough to actually have that play out, to have had that play out. So I'm so excited to share that news with people very soon. But yes, there's definitely an album in the works, and definitely some original music. So I'm so excited to have that, kind of playing out in the background at the moment.
And if I give you a call in 5 years, in 2028, where do you envision your career at?
I hope I'm just, I'm happy and healthy, and I'm loving my musical journey as much as I'm loving it now. I feel very privileged and very grateful to be on this journey. I've had a lot of assistance and guidance, whether that be from my dad or Paul Lane from the Defiance, Ex Danger, or even Danny Ciccardi of Wicked Smile. He's been a huge a mentor for me, to me as a young girl growing up in the rock scene. So I'm very, very happy to be in this scene, and I hope that I'm just as happy then. Hopefully I see my career grow and flourish, and I get to meet a lot of new people in the scene as well.
And Wicked Smile was one of my greatest interviews. I think that band just has a great upside. How was it playing on the same bill with them?
Absolutely. Wicked Smile is, like I said, and especially like the newer stuff that's coming out. I'm so excited because I really know this is what the fans have been waiting for. After the debut, like it's pretty hard to put out a record that's better than that debut album because it's such a monster. It's a great album. But touring with them, it's just an amazing experience. The band are my friends and they're my family. So, like I said earlier, Danny Ciccardi has been one of the biggest mentors to me, and Dave Graham of Wicked Smile, the lead guitarist. He's one of my good friends as well, and he actually plays guitar in my band. So I'm very grateful to those guys because they have helped mold my career and shape me as an artist. And they remind me of things that I wouldn't have thought myself because they've been around the block as well with in the music industry, and they've helped to guide and mentor me as much as they possibly can.
And as far as that is concerned, what do you feel has been the best advice that has been given to you along your musical journey?
Ooh, tough one. Keep level-headed is a huge one. I think also, like, building on that, my dad has always reminded me that you need to know where the fans have got you. And I don't like even calling them fans because I see them more as my friends, as my family. Because when I was going through difficult times in high school and everything, social media was that platform that I was able to, connect with people that actually understood me and understood what I stood for, and what I was trying to do with my musical career. So I feel like you always need to remind yourself how much power those people have in your life, and to prioritize and to meet them and to have that connection. And I think that's so important.
Sure. And like as far as I'm concerned, I started this podcast 4 years ago, and it's grown in great measure since. But one of the great pieces of advice that was given to me is that to remember that the people that you meet on the way up are the people that you meet on the way down, and
Exactly.
to treat everyone with respect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I think that anyone that doesn't agree with that, I think you need to go back and reflect, because these are the people that are building you to be the artist that you are, building you to be the person that you are. And if you don't respect that, I think there's a lot of work to be done.
And during your career thus far, what do you feel has been the proudest moment so far?
Proudest moment. I think when I stepped onto that, I said this last night actually in an interview as well. When I stepped onto that UK stage for the first time, we played a festival first up, and that was a really cool experience because I remember speaking to one of the security guards, and he pulled me aside and he said, "You've packed out the whole room," and I was like, "What? I've packed? That doesn't even, like, what do you mean?" And then he was like, "You've packed out the whole room. They're letting in one out, one in." For your set, because people can't move and it's a full room. And I'm like, that was just such a cool experience for me because I had never played in the UK before. I'm like a young girl who I haven't even released a debut album yet. To have a packed out room and to play to a packed out room was just such a special thing for me. And it just really felt like a family in there. And it was one of the best experiences of my life because I just felt like everyone was so welcoming, and they knew all the lyrics and everything, and it just made me so happy.
I wanted to ask you as well, when Cassidy isn't working on music,
Yeah.
do you have any hobbies that you enjoy?
It's very, very unlikely to catch me on a day without a guitar in my hand, but I love boxing. So if I'm not boxing or going for a walk with my dogs, I'm a huge animal lover. So any free time I get off from, whether that be touring, riding, or recording, I'm always like with my friends and family and my dogs. Yeah, so that's probably like my main hobbies. But yeah, I do a little bit of boxing on the side. But I've always got music in my ears. I can't escape the music, unfortunately, or fortunately for my, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I go through 30 to 40 albums a week, checking out all the new releases. So it's a full-time job.
It is exactly right. And as much as like I love recording and releasing music myself, I love checking out the new releases and stuff. Like I know this has been a huge success the last couple of years, but the Mammoth Wolf Van Halen album that he put out, that was one of my favorite albums in a very long time. So it was cool to see someone that in the younger generation that's doing something like that for the newer rock community.
I know you travel a lot, and I've seen it. I wanted to ask you, if you could go to any place to visit, would it be France?
Would it be France? I actually just did Paris last year, and that was it was insane. I think it was one of the best places I've ever been to. I love the United States though. I'm a huge like USA girl, so I can't wait to get back there and play a couple of gigs.
Yeah, I'd love to see you in Ohio. And I also wanted to ask you, if you had to pick your favorite meal, what is it?
My favorite meal. I'm a huge pizza gal. Love pizza. But when we went to Chicago a couple of years back, I opened up a festival that my dad was playing. We played an acoustic set, and we had the best deep dish pizza. I think it was called Giordano's. Don't all Americans please help me out here because this was a little bit of a long time ago. But I think it's called Giordano's, and it was absolutely amazing. It was so yummy.
And I also wanted to ask you, what's the best way to get merchandising or anything else from you?
CassidyParis.com is the best way to get your hands on any merch. And yeah, that's probably the best avenue. Sometimes we sell them at shows, but actually a pretty cool thing happened when we were on tour in the UK last year. All my CDs sold out within my first show. And we bought a ton of CDs, so that was a really cool. I mean, it was cool for the people that got the CD, but I felt really bad because we had to wait a couple of dates down the tour for someone else to bring the CDs over because we had none. So some people get a CD. But I promise I'll bring more next time. So that was a pretty cool experience.
And lastly, I wanted to ask you if you can give a message to your fans, what would that message be?
Just keep your head down, keep working hard, and success will come to you. If you need to keep at it, because so like I've seen it firsthand. My dad and people in the music industry, if you work hard, you get somewhere, and you'll be moving forward. And also be a good person is a huge one, because in this music industry there are going to be a lot of tough situations, and you have to do your best to be a good person at all times.
And I wanted to thank you for taking time to speak with me. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. I hope that
Thank you
we can get together again when new material comes out.
for sure. That sounds like a plan. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, and you have a great rest of your morning. It's night
Thank
here.
Oh, it's night there. Yeah, I keep forgetting about the time difference, actually. Well, have a great night. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and you take care, my friend.
Thanks, you too. See you later. Bye-bye.
All right, cheers.